Real one. Good. Good to see you. Y'all got a whole crew out here. Yeah, he did. Yeah, there's a good vantage point up the steps. Yeah, pretty uncrowded. Sweet. When do the fireworks start flying? Let's go. You guys okay? I've been out here for forever, I feel like. Free water. You want to get this sign on camera? I know, there's more up there. No expletives. Not around the expletives, so you can put it on air. I love that. Thanks for that. Love that. Sure, absolutely.
motion over here for us to vote to buy this huge convention center downtown. We should vote on that. Allow us to be done. With our money. You're a registered Austin voter. Petition right here.
Y'all said it? No, you can get it. No, wait. First. Whoever wants a solo quick talk. Okay, I don't care. You can pick it up. Are y'all getting it? Okay. All four of you. Come on. 1, 2, 3. Solos? Solos? Okay. 1, 2, 3. All right, I'm good.
Can you hold up?
Hey, we've lost the brass band. Where are you guys? We need you up here. Come on, come on. We need the brass band up here, please. Hey! Check, check, check! What's going on, everybody? How are we doing today? All right. I'm Mace, your ringmaster. Welcome to the greatest show on Texas. Go ahead and take a look to your left and your right at your peers. Let everybody know how much you love them. We are here to support you and protect you. It's time for a peaceful protest. Okay. It's time for that peaceful protest for us to continue to fight for our rights and freedom of this democracy. My name is Sophia, and I'm the president of Hands Off Central Texas. Thank you so much for coming out today. You know, everything's bigger in Texas, including our appetite for democracy. First things first, we keep our communities safe. If you need to use the restroom, it is east of the Capitol, off Capitol grounds. If you need water or assistance, find a protest monitor in a neon yellow or a staff in a staff shirt. Everybody got it? If you need help, find a staff member. We got a lot of volunteers here who made this happen, so let's give it up for every hard-working Texans that have worked overnight. Volunteered to give us a First Amendment protest against the regime. I want to start by taking a moment in silence for Minneapolis and for everyone here in the United States that is in dangerous today because of the actions of the regime. So let's all take a good 10 seconds, take a deep breath. We are standing in solidarity with comrades and Americans across the country here today. Thank you very much. So we are out here today because each one of us has an appetite for the rule of law. We have an appetite for due process. And we have an appetite for the Constitution. We want to believe in our elections, and we want to believe in self-governance. We, the people of the United States, here together, we self-govern. We protect our community, and we work together to build a beautiful future America. We've got some amazing circus performers for you today. We have some of the most famous drag queens in Texas. We've got chicken dancers, we've got music, and we have so many elections it'll make your head spin. I want every American elected officials are our employees. We put them into office, we pay their salaries, and when they disregard their oath to the Constitution, it is on us to hold them accountable. We hold them accountable not just at the ballot box, but every single day that our electeds go to work too. We can form community movements. We can pick specific things to fight at every level of government. We can write our own. You can run for office, and every one of us gets to self-govern here in Texas and around the country. There are no kings in America! We reject fascism in America! And here in Texas, we protect our community! Put your hand up if you have called someone in a government office this week. Have you called your employees? Have you told them to govern? And if you haven't, that's okay. You can send them an email tonight. You can give them a call. If you don't want to talk to anybody, you can leave a voicemail. You can walk into offices during the Texas Ledge season, and you can get meetings with staffers at every level of government. We have some amazing speakers coming up for you today. I'm so excited. Y'all stay calm, stay community, stay hydrated. And again, if you need bathrooms, they're on the east side. We have some chicken dancers to start us off. You know, it is really important that when people take an oath to the Constitution, whether they're in our armed forces, law enforcement, or elected or appointed office, that they keep that oath. What? We're going to start off, because we're still looking for the band, so if anyone sees the band, point them to the stage. We're going to start off with one of the lead organizers for 50501 Austin, Alexandria Haddock. Hello, everybody. Who's been to the farmers' protest on February 5th? Make some noise. Now look around. Look at everyone that has joined us. Y'all are part of the reason that this group Uh-oh. Oh, there we go. All right. Little known fact about it. This is my first time speaking publicly. I was nervous, but I am not nervous now because I am speaking to my friends, my I care about every single one of you, and that makes this job the easiest job I have ever had. It is our civic duty to be up here today. This is not business as usual. This is business under fascism. Up to $45 million of our taxpayer money is being spent right now on the dictator, president's birthday celebration. Let's hear that again. Is that proper use of all our taxpayer dollars? No! It is not enough for the ultra-wealthy to hoard the resources. They want to take what little we have is left as well and paint Trump as a king and us as his peasants. Are we peasants? I said, are we peasants? The people who swore to protect us have been corrupted by greed and turned American politics into a circus for their own personal gain. Both sides have failed us. The system is severely flawed. Lawmakers getting rich off stocks of companies that actively harm the American people. Marjorie Taylor Greene at you. There are only a handful of people left in our government that seem to remember the oath they took. We cannot rely on them to save us. We must save ourselves. Do y'all remember the first protest what I made y'all do? I want to take the next 30 seconds and I want you to say hello to someone you've never met before in the crowd. Let us not forget our humanity in these trying times. The people you are standing shoulder to shoulder with are going to be the ones that you lean on, and they will be leaning on you. This is a marathon, not a race. Okay. I want to discuss two more things with you today. Mutual aid and Rockland County. Find a mutual aid group and join it. Mutual aid is not charity. Mutual aid is the community ensuring its people have what they need to be self-reliant. We must grow these networks and we must grow them quickly. Check out Austin Mutual Aid on Instagram. And now, Rockland County. Who has heard of it? For those that haven't, let me catch you up and leave you with the direct action you can take today. Non-partisan statisticians at Smart Elections have found alarming discrepancies with the 2024 election results. New York Judge Rachel, you guys, I've been practicing her last name. Doggett, I butchered it, I know I did. But Judge Rachel has ruled it is serious enough to merit discovery. The lawsuit is moving forward in Rockland. This is not exclusive to Rockland. Do not let this be swept under the rug by entertainment masquerading as news. Call your elected officials today and every single day after to speak about it. Demand that they look into it. Talk to your neighbors. Talk to your friends and family. We have the evidence the president. Everyone in America is covered by the same Constitution, and everyone in America should be held to the same standards of the rule of law.
No, I'm standing right here.
She's just standing here for now. She'll come on soon. All right, give us 1 sec. We're getting the band and the chicken dancers for you. Here to tell Congress, don't chicken out.
Wow. As these rallies go on, we grow and grow. Thank you for the love of your country and for its people, and being today here in solidarity. I've been to this Capitol several times with other families, fighting for the right of our families to exist. And today, we are all together defending our democracy. So everyone has the right and ability to live their life with dignity, peace, and joy.
So, you know, what we're all doing here today is really hard, and sometimes it can be daunting for all of us, and we know that it's getting very isolating at times, So we want to build community right with this song, do a little dance, get your bodies moving, strike up the band. It's a live band. Isn't that great? Because we are Austin. Austin. So we're going to go through a few little dance moves, although you all are familiar with this particular dance.
Thank you, Kate. And, you know, what happens in certain times like this and uncertainty and the stress that we have, like Kate said, day after day, it's hard to continue, but we're going to continue to show up in solidarity. And this dance, perhaps we can use it for a little celebration because there's someone who has a birthday today, our Commander Taco in Chief, and he's going to be 79. That's a lot of candles. It sounds like a hazard to me. So here we go. Get ready to shake your tail feathers.
Okay, so we're doing the chicken dance. So the moves are, all right, we've got beats, and you've got wings, and you've got tail feathers. Tail feathers, guys, tail feathers.
All right, thanks for joining us here. My name is Nabil Ramadna. This is my colleague Kelly Wiley, KXAN Plus here. We're following these protests. There's protests across the nation right now, and there's one going on here in Austin at the state capitol. You can see some of the things that are going on there. This is part of the No Kings Day protest, and there's a lot going on that we're going to fill you in with as these protests continue on.
Right. I mean, you can see them kind of being playful, doing the chicken dance, but there's been a lot of worry going into the protest today because of what DPS says was a credible threat on state lawmakers that were set to attend and speak at this No Kings protest in Austin. We've been following that. And just before this protest really got started, we learned from the Texas Department of Public Safety that they actually have someone in custody in connection to that threat. And we'll get into much more of that later.
And again, as you were mentioning, the Capitol actually evacuated, so a lot of uncertainty of what would this going on with this protest here. So you have gotten some more information there. We'll discuss that as well as, again, what happened in Minnesota, a very tragic incident there. But we also have reporters out in the field that we'll hear from who are on the ground, and we want to get back out to this protest here. But as you can see, doing the chicken dance there, they're all kind of collaborating there, and they'll have multiple speakers throughout the afternoon into the evening here.
Yeah, and I mean, this kind of, it's a heavy topic, right, that they're getting into, right? They're talking about ICE being in communities in and around Texas. They're talking about what they consider authoritarianism happening in the country. But I think the reason why you're seeing them do the chicken dance and kind of have this kind of sillier start is because of the messaging that we've seen the groups that are organizing put out ahead of time. They've been really pushing that they do not want this to have any, they don't want any violence. They want this to be a non-violent protest. You know, ahead of this, we've been hearing that the National Guard is on standby if things get out of control. And the organizers have really said that they want to prevent that from happening, and they want this to be a nonviolent expression of their rights.
Yeah, and here in Austin, I think we've seen kind of a contrast of, you know, local law enforcement versus, you know, Texas National Guard. You know, they are on standby. Abbott saying that, you know, they would be on standby today for these protests. But, you know, City of Austin, APD saying that, you know, they welcome these protests as long as they are, you know, safe and following the rules here. And so far, that's what we're seeing out at the Capitol right now. I'm going to check in again with our reporters who are on the ground and follow along. But as of right now, we haven't seen anything at this current protest. Let's actually go back out live and take a look at what's going on there. Or actually, you know what? Let's take a look from our Austonian cam just to kind of give you a sense of what you're seeing. That's a close-up look, and we've got actual pan out to kind of see what the crowds look like out there.
Right. And yeah, I mean, it looks like somebody might be coming up here now. This is one of the organizers. This is Sophia Murto, who is with Hands Off Central Texas. And we actually spoke to her after we learned that the Texas governor might deploy the Texas National Guard if things got out of control. And she was telling us in the interview that she was really disappointed that there would be any sort of military force at what they hope is a peaceful protest. But then we also heard from the governor who said, I think this is me paraphrasing his quote, but he said, this isn't California, this is Texas, this is a law and order state.
We've got Zoe Kadri coming up. Let's take a listen to what he has to say here. Councilmember Zoe Kadri here.
I'm Austin City Council member Zoe Kadri, and I represent Central Austin on Austin City Council. Who's ready to hear from some amazing speakers? Who's ready to yell loud enough to Greg Abbott to hear it at his mansion down the street? And who's ready to turn this organizing into action next November? Before we get started, I want to commend everyone on their great work today for showing, despite the intimidation from the National Guard, despite the heinous acts of political violence coming out of to intimidate peaceful protests for political theater. While real acts of violence are being committed against Democratic leaders across the country this morning, we cannot stand idly while political assassinations continue to wreak havoc, causing senseless deaths of public servants across the country while the military is turned against citizens at home. We know that peaceful protests aren't the problem. Injustice is, hate is, tyranny is. But let's back up for a second. You can all remember that little document called the Declaration of Independence, right? The one they made us memorize in 7th grade before they banned history and civics in Texas. Well, almost 250 years to the day, the founders didn't just break away from a king. They gave us 27 reasons why. And folks, I'm not saying Donald Trump is King George in a bad spray tan, but if the crown fits. And I want to play a little game. I'll read a few of those reasons. You tell me if they still ring true in 2025. So grievance number 8, he has obstructed the administration of justice. Donald Trump hasn't served time for his federal convictions. Grievance number 10, he has erected a multitude of new offices and sent officers to harass our people. That sounds a lot like Doge to me. Grievance number 3, he has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts unless they would relinquish the right of representation in the legislature. Donald Trump threatened mid-decade redistricting for Texas just days ago. And I'll give you one more. Grievance number 27. He has excited domestic insurrections amongst us. That's January 6th. Friends, if the hat still fits, maybe the crown never came off. Donald Trump wants to be king, and Greg Abbott wants to be his jester, and they both want you to bow, not just to them, but to their politics of fear. But we're not bowing. We're marching. We're organizing. And we're building. Let me tell you what I didn't see in the Declaration of Independence. Nothing about banning drag shows. Nothing. Nothing about forcing people to give birth against their will. Nothing about criminalizing teachers for telling the truth. Because what Donald Trump is doing isn't patriotism. It's political theater. Social. And while we're on the subject of civil unrest, let's get real about what's called a riot and what isn't. Peaceful protesters with handmade signs? Well, that's a threat to democracy. MAGA fanboys in camo zip-tying Capitol officers? Well, they're just misunderstood patriots. Greg Abbott sees drag queens reading books as dangerous, yet he thinks armored white nationalists storming a government building is just an over-enthusiastic fan base. Because they don't want peace, they want submission. But we're not here to submit. We're here to remind them that in this country, there are no kings. But beyond just resisting, we're here to reimagine. Reimagine a new era of leadership. That blueprint for a better future for Texas is seen no more clearly than down the street, beyond the shadow of the Capitol at City Hall. Austin has always been a refuge for the free thinkers, the fighters, and the folks who refuse to fall in line. But is that truer than right here, where I am proud to represent an Austin City Council in District 9. In a state where Republicans ban drag shows, we still see incredible performers almost every night at Cheer Up Charlie's. Just this week, converge in District 9 to march against ICE, proving that when injustice shows up, we show up louder.
All right, if you're just tuning in here, my name is Nabil Ramadna. I am a reporter and anchor for KXAN. We are on KXAN Plus. We are covering the No Kings Day across Central Texas. We've seen a number of protests. Here you can see Councilmember in Austin, Zoe Kadri, speaking out at the Capitol. We've got crews out here. We're going to be following along. Just wanted to let you know that we will have some commentary coming up on some threats here in the Austin area before that protest, as well as some across the nation, some tragic events as well. We'll keep you updated as the protest here at the Capitol continues.
The front lines of America's fight for democracy. Look no further than 9 square miles beneath your feet. Now look, this fight isn't new, and it's also not unwinnable, because every time democracy was under threat, somebody stood up. Just like we stood up against King George after we called him out for over 27 grievances. And today, I want to name one of them who never stopped showing up for democracy. Here in Texas, while Trump was busy golfing through lawsuits, Congressman Lloyd Doggett was doing something radical. His job. He's fought to protect voting rights when the GOP tried to dismantle them. He's fought for health care when the courts tried to strip them away. He stayed in active dissent even when Republicans in power tried to gerrymander him out of his district for decades. And he's showing up, not for a photo op, but for the people. Because when we say no kings in America, we also say yes to public servants who still believe in serving. So I'm honored today to hand this mic to one of the fiercest defenders of democracy we've got. Austin, make some noise for a true champion of the people, Congressman Lloyd Doggett.
Not only does Zoe do a great job for District 9, but for all of us who believe in justice and equity across Travis County. Thank you for your service. So welcome, patriots. Welcome, patriots who will never bow down to a king. Welcome, patriots who say we will never yield to a tyrant. Our struggle for independence 250 years ago freed America from a king far away, and we will never yield to a king from Mar-a-Lago. It is so good to see so many flags out there on this American Flag Day. Flags with our signs, we say we are patriots who love our country enough that we're determined to make it better and more just for all. And this is, of course, a day to honor the anniversary of the Army. We honor the generations of men and women who have given their all to defend our freedom, and we affirm by our presence right here that we will preserve our liberties and combat autocracy to assure that their sacrifices have not been in vain. And yes, certainly, we need to call out the National Guard rails on this president. We don't need for Trump to abusively misuse the National Guard and the Marines, only escalating tensions in the streets. This is a defining moment for our democracy. Trump has always ached to be a dictator for more than a day when he wasn't pretending to be the Pope. He tries to avoid any accountability, any checks and balances, seeking more and more power as his family and their gang of thieves seek more and more enrichment from corruption. Our democracy is not lost in a flash. It can ebb away if we don't work to prevent that. Think about it. A Tufts University student whose only wrong was to write an article for a student newspaper. She's grabbed off of Boston Street by masked men and imprisoned in Louisiana. A Wisconsin judge who's doing her job in her courthouse is apprehended. My New Jersey House colleague, Representative McIver, is indicted for properly engaging in oversight on immigration. And to top it all, as you know, U.S. Senator Alex Padilla was thrown to the floor, handcuffed, after just daring to ask an unresponsive administration to answer some questions. If we don't push back forcefully in every nonviolent way, tyranny will envelop our country, where the only civil right we will have remaining is the right to salute Donald Trump as his Republican minions do every day. And all of this is happening while Trump is forcing through the Congress an ugly bill to take from the poor and give to the rich, denying health care to 16 million of our neighbors, enriching Elon Musk and the billionaire class. Where are the elected Republicans? Well, the Republicans I serve with, for the most part, are so cowed by Trump you can almost hear them move. Many people coming to today after the tragedy this morning and other things that have happened have asked, will we be safe? Well, we've held other large rallies. Many of you have joined in this very spot without incident. And with the protection of the Department of Public Safety, they have worked with the organizers, with Sophia and Lucy, to whom we give great thanks, and our volunteer safe day. Thank you for acknowledging their important role. But to the larger question, are we safe? The answer, honestly, is no, we are not safe as long as Trump is president. Internationally, he is all bluster, but he is too weak to restrain a war criminal like Vladimir Putin in Ukraine. He's too weak to stop the death by starvation in Gaza. He is too weak to prevent Netanyahu from undermining Trump's own negotiations for a peaceful settlement of the nuclear issue in Iran. That was recently to Trump on tariffs applies even more so to his foreign policy. He is a taco president. I don't mean our delicious tacos. I mean the acronym, which stands for Trump Always Chickens Out. Our next protest is an anti-war protest. In America, with Trump in charge, democracy will never be safe. He will continue to empower violent extremists. We will be safe only if we rely on the power of nonviolent protest. And I want to speak to you very candidly. Engages in violence or vandalism, whether they're some masquerading provocateur, a Russian-inspired troublemaker, or an anarchist who prefers violence to elections, whatever their motivations, they're the ones he's counting on. They're the best allies that he's got. Tonight, when we are finished before dark, please go home at the conclusion of this gathering. Don't get caught up in vandalism and mayhem that will only undermine our protest and help Trump. Ask, is there hope? Well, I say hope can be found in the almost daily court orders the administration to be blocked or official actions. Hope can be found in Trump's constant vacillation, changing 22 times on his imposing tariff taxes. Hope can be found in Trump's declining poll numbers, even on immigration, as Americans see the inhumanity of tearing families apart. And even after he has stirred so much anti-immigrant hysteria, hope can even be found in Trump's tweets. Listen to this one from Thursday evening. He tweeted, "Changes are coming because our great farmers and people in the hotel and leisure business have been stating that very good long-time workers are being taken away, with those jobs being almost impossible to fill. We must protect our farmers." Who could ever have guessed that if hardworking, tax-paying immigrants who are doing the construction, the hard work, the health care, the delivery of our food, that if they're gone, it hurts all of us. But I say that most of the hope that we can find can be found by looking around you tonight, right here. I see it in the faces of those who refuse to yield. I see it in those who are already knocking on doors, registering new voters, who are talking to neighbors and coworkers about Trump's wrongdoing. Those who say that elections are too long to wait are absolutely right. I wish we could stop him tonight. But our work to win elections at every level of government is what it will take. There are no superheroes coming to save us. We have to put on our own individual capes. Our work, backed up by more and more court orders and recurrent protests like this, are the best tools we've got. Revolution won't. Robert Kennedy's words long ago in South Africa in the battle against apartheid ring true here tonight, when he said it is from numberless diverse acts of courage and belief that human history is shaped. Each time someone stands up, it sends forth a ripple of hope, and crossing each other from a million different centers of energy, and daring those ripples build a current that can sweep down the mightiest oppression. Before the sun sets and we head home, keep in your heart hope. We are Texans and Americans. We still live in the home of the brave and the land of the free. And we aim to keep it that way. Never give up, never give in. With love for our neighbors in our hearts, we will build together and we shall overcome. Thank you.
All right, you just heard from Congressman Lloyd Doggett there. A few locals speaking that are lawmakers. We saw Zoe Kadri, council member, and then we saw Congressman Doggett there. Now, this is an event that we heard about some threats and some, threats towards some local lawmakers who might be speaking today. Kelly, you've been digging into that, and you've got some more information, I believe.
Yeah, around 1 p.m., the Texas Department of Public Safety said that they had identified a credible threat that was made against state lawmakers who were planning to attend today's protest. And we've learned just in the last hour that someone who is connected to that threat is in custody with DPS currently. But that was right before this event was set to start. And when we first heard about this threat, we were messaging any lawmaker that we know of that was going to be in attendance, not only the state lawmakers, but as you mentioned, our U.S. congressman that was going to be in town and speaking up there. And some of the message backs, State Senator Sarah Eckhart, who's out of Austin, she's going to be speaking today, or at least she's set to speak today. And she told us that she was still planning on coming if the event was still going to be happening. Representative Congressman Lloyd Doggett also told us that he had every faith that DPS was doing what they needed to do to keep everyone, all participants, safe. And you just saw him speak there at the podium. He was dead set on attending, regardless of what was going on, because he felt like DPS had a handle on it. And so just a lot going on leading up to this day and to this event. Not only this threat that they were identified at 1 and were able to bring somebody into custody by just before 5 o'clock, but also, all the buildup from the governor as well, saying that he was planning on having the Texas National Guard on standby in case this protest became violent or not civil. So there's a lot that we've been monitoring, but also we can't not bring up that at the same time that these No Kings protests are happening across the country, the President Donald Trump, is also participating in the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army Grand Military Parade. And so we can go there now. It's still going on. So there's some messaging there, right? That these No Kings protests are happening at the same time as the Grand Military Parade. As we go to these images, we've heard from the No Kings organizers on their website that they are doing all this for a variety of reasons. They talk about the deportations that are happening across the country. They talk about civil rights, what's going on in the courts. That's all that's packed into why people are protesting today.
I was going to say, and you take a look there, you can see President Trump at that parade. And again, this is celebrating, from his office, the Army's 250th anniversary as he celebrates his 79th birthday. As you can see now, taking a look at that parade, you can see we've seen, I think, hundreds of troops. I think there's thousands of them at this parade, as well as, tanks, other military vehicles. We did see some of the protesters, too, out in Austin speaking about this parade, saying, they were concerned about, how much money was being spent. That's a concern that comes up from the people we've heard. So a lot going on. And all this kind of going on, too, as the nation's on high alert with some of these threats you were talking about, but also we go over to Minnesota. If we could, talk about that as well, basically, because we had a lawmaker who was killed. We have another who was injured. I kind of want to talk about that as well, especially following, what we saw with, the stuff going on here. So Minnesota State Representative and her husband, they were shot and killed, and a state senator and his wife were shot and wounded in an act of targeted political violence at their homes this morning. That was according to Governor Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota. Just a few details on what we have on that so far. There was a manhunt that's underway for the gunman who was impersonating a police officer, and that hunt is still going on. Authorities said they did identify the person as 57-year-old Vance Bolter as the suspect. So as you can imagine, high alert across the nation right now with a very volatile situation.
Less than an hour ago. And all of this is sort of tied together, right? Like lawmakers got a message early this morning, and this was a message from DPS where they said, there's this credible threat that's towards state lawmakers. They're working with partners to figure out what's going on. But then they also this was also in the message. They talked about what happened in Minnesota and some concerns that this might be someone doing sort of a copycat of what happened in Minnesota. I'm going to read here, so just give me a second. But the message said that what happened to the two Minnesota lawmakers and their families was politically motivated. And they said that during this exchange, again, this person was dressed as a police officer. This person, what was found in their car was a list of potential targets indicating a broader threat to lawmakers. And they said, we're always concerned about copycats and those who this attack might inspire. They asked lawmakers to remain vigilant, report any suspicious activity, and not hesitate to reach out if they had concerns. Now we know, of course, that DPS has someone that they have in custody who they believe is connected to this threat. But that was their messaging to lawmakers earlier today when they were first trying to work through all of this.
And that person found in LaGrange, if I'm correct?
That's correct. DPS officials said that the person was pulled over during a traffic stop in LaGrange. We still don't have a lot of details. We don't have a name for this person. We don't know how they came to the conclusion that this person was involved with this credible threat against state lawmakers. We're still in the early part of trying to learn more about what DPS knows.
Perfect. Let's head back out to the state capitol where the protest is going on, the No Kings protest here in Austin, just to get a look at what we're seeing out there. Again, we've heard from a number of lawmakers. We've heard from the event organizer, and there's a list of speakers as well.
Right. And as we're going out there, part of what we heard Congressman Doggett say, part of his request was that people go home at 8 p.m., asking don't participate in any sort of vandalism, don't participate in anything that would take away from the messaging of the event and the messaging that organizers are trying to get across with this No Kings Day.
Taking a look kind of at the entranceway of the Capitol there at the end of Congress.
And you see that flag, there it is, No Kings. I'm going to read a little bit of what you can find on nokings.org. They're saying in America, we don't do kings. And they're saying no thrones, no crowns, no kings. They've defied our courts, deported Americans. So that's sort of some of the messaging with this event.
I was going to say, you're also seeing some clowns dressed up there. For context, you're seeing a lot of, people dressed up in different costumes and things like that. So again, this is a live look out on Congress. Do we have the speakers at the protest? Let's go back. I think
they're bringing up somebody new. Okay, here.
Looks like they're waiting on another speaker here.
sun under no crown, a republic, not a kingdom. We are here to deliver a message, one that echoes across generations, from Lexington and Concord to Selma and Stonewall, from the steps of the Capitol to the streets of Austin. In this country, there are no kings. No rulers by divine right. No thrones passed by blood. No man above the law. Not then, not now, not ever. And yet we stand here today because that idea is under siege. Because one man, one disgraced, twice impeached, four-time indicted man has clawed his way back to power. And he hasn't come back to serve, but he's come back to try to rule. Not with humility, but with vengeance. Has already ignored, tried to override the will of governors and voters. He's using military force against civilians. He's talked openly about a third term. He's built a political machine that mirrors the ones we were taught to fear in our darkest chapters of history. This isn't just politics, it's authoritarianism in slow motion. So let me say this plainly. The American people are not and will not be pawns on a billionaire's
Operations Command, the 75th Ranger Regiment, based out of Fort Bragg, North Carolina, represents a lethal, agile, and flexible force capable of conducting many complex joint special operations missions. Today's Rangers Regiment is the Army's premier direct action raid force. It is always combat ready, mentally and physically tough, and prepared to fight our country's adversaries. The U.S. Army Special Operations Command is an elite group of individuals trained to lead and succeed in protecting the country from their threats. Composed of 5 units with unique specialties, Special Operations works in small tactical teams, taking on the most challenging and sensitive missions. Military legends to service members and civilians alike, they take on terrorists through quiet guerrilla war-style missions in foreign countries. Ladies and gentlemen.
All right, you're taking a look at the 250th birthday of the U.S. Army Grand Military Parade and Celebration. That's what it's officially called. It's featuring thousands of soldiers. We've seen a number of tanks go by. You can actually take a look down at the bottom and see Secret Service there as well, because that's President Trump is there as well in attendance to this. They expected, thousands of people to stop by as well. And we've seen just continuous, troops marching by, and a show there of, well, here comes another tank in the background there. So you can see a celebration in Washington, D.C. again as protests continue across the nation here.
The U.S. Army tweeted earlier today. They said tonight's Army Parade is a reminder that we've always been there for America, and we always will. Obviously, also today is the president's birthday. We saw in attendance the First Lady alongside President Donald Trump. We also saw Vice President Vance there, along with his children, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth there today for this parade.
And I was going to say, you have to think, with the threat to lawmakers, not only in, Texas, but what we saw in Minnesota, there's a look at President Trump and Pete Hegseth, as well as Melania Trump there sitting in attendance. It looks like they're actually behind kind of a glass wall, and we saw the Secret Service. He's saluting the troops there as people clap on there. Mm-hmm. But again, this is, what's going on in D.C. and then, kind of a contrast of what we're seeing in some other places as well. But again, high alert as, we've seen lawmakers in Minnesota, the tragedy that happened there. I did want to go back to that because earlier we were talking about it briefly, and I just want to talk about who those people were. That was State Representative Melissa Hortman. She's a Democrat, and her husband, Mark. They were shot and killed. She was formerly the Speaker of the Minnesota House. And then State Senator John Hoffman, also a Democrat, and his wife, Yvette, both shot multiple times and undergoing surgery. That was according to Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. He announced that in a press release. Following that, though, President Trump releasing a statement saying that, such horrific violence will not be tolerated. And I think that kind of echoes on what's going on with these protests, saying that, people can protest, but when things turn violence, that's when we see, more volatile situations. That's when we see the talk of the National Guard and law enforcement, things like that.
Right. Yeah, and just to go further with the statement that came from the White House, President Trump saying our Attorney General Pam Bondi and the FBI are investigating the situation, and they'll be prosecuting anyone involved to the fullest extent of the law. Such horrific violence will not be tolerated, and he said, God bless the great people of Minnesota, truly a great place. But obviously we saw an emotional Governor Tim Walz earlier today as he was talking about what happened there, calling it political violence. And we've seen just in the last few minutes here, the Texas Democrats sending a letter that they've tweeted out on social media where they're also calling for rhetoric to just come down as we're seeing what's happened out of Minnesota, and then when we're also seeing the credible threat against Texas state lawmakers today.
And again, we do have some reporters out in the field. I don't know if we can possibly take their shots here in Austin, or maybe the Austonian cam. Just kind of looking at the crowds here in Austin would be good to show just how many people are showing up. Again, we've heard that the parade up in D.C., thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of people at that parade, and we're seeing a lot of people show up at the state capitol as well. We just took a look at that video, and you can see large crowds here in Austin as well. So, and so far, peaceful from what we've seen. We've seen a number of acts, performances, and then some local lawmakers as well speaking.
Well, what's interesting is leading up to this, there's been the messaging for people showing up to this event has been, this is organized by people who believe in nonviolence. We don't want the protests to become violent. We saw city council members, Vanessa Fuentes out of Austin, say this, we don't want this to go to a place of violence. We saw the Austin mayor say the same thing. Don't let this be political theater. Let's not be violent. And we saw Congressman Lloyd Doggett say at the tail end of his speech, go home at 8 p.m. Let this be where we express ourselves.
I was going to say, and for those who are just tuning in here on KXAN Plus, this is all part of the No Kings Day. And the organizers for this specific event here at the Capitol, that's Hands Off Central Texas. This protest, it started at 5. It's supposed to go till 8. The city of Austin saying at 8 they will promptly close the gates there. So again, we are going to continue to monitor that. But so far, it's been a peaceful protest.
And I think later today, we're going to see State Senator Sarah Eckhart come up. She's one of the folks that was scheduled to speak. We've also already heard from Councilmember Zoe Kadri, already heard from U.S. Congressman Lloyd Doggett. And so there's much more to come until 8 p.m.
Because we were having some signal issues in there. There are thousands of people here today, and you can see that because the speakers have sort of stopped talking, that there are some folks that are leaving, there are some folks that are still coming. We were standing outside of the front of this protest, sort of just watching as people were coming and going and seeing what this crowd looked like. There's a large mix of Austinites who are here today. Most of them, almost all of them, in support of this protest, which is an anti-Trump protest. But we did see a handful of counter-protesters here with Trump Vance signs and their red hats, having conversations with people that were here about what they believe and where they disagree, but that has stayed relatively civil. Folks having discussions here and not yelling matches. But again, thousands of people at this protest right now so far. It has stayed on the Capitol grounds aside from people that are coming and going from this protest. We also have another crew that is inside this protest who is working to bring you some interviews and some pictures from what it's like inside of that crowd closer to the stage. We also know that there is a planned protest at 8 p.m. at the J.J. Pickle building, which is a federal building here in downtown off of 8th Street. So we are keeping eyes on that and seeing what happens there. DPS has said that the Capitol grounds here are going to close around 8 o'clock around that time. And so they're asking folks to have a plan to get home and to be able to get out of here when that 8 o'clock hour rolls around. We're going to continue to follow this for you, and we appreciate the coverage.
All right, Grace Reeder reporting out there. We've got two crews, Kevin Bosker as well. They were closer to the stage. Yeah, you're taking a live look at what she's seeing. As she mentioned, a lot of people coming, some people going still, but that crowd has definitely increased in size from what we saw earlier. I don't know if we can go back to that Austonian camera to kind of show just how many people are out at the event here today. Again, a peaceful event so far, but on Monday, when we saw those anti-ICE protests, things did start peaceful and then ended up with 13 arrests. We saw some people that were causing some issues and arrested and taken into custody. So again, that protest at the Capitol stops at 8 p.m. and you're just kind of imagining what will take place then. We've heard there's another protest taking place at 8 p.m. at the J.J. Pickle federal facility. So we'll continue to monitor that as things move along here.
And another thing to call attention to, we know in the days leading up to today, Governor Abbott said that he was going to have the Texas National Guard on standby here in Austin and in San Antonio for the No Kings protests, anti-ICE protests. And they were particular to say, on standby, that they would be in the general area, but they wouldn't be, or that they'd be deployed, but they wouldn't be within the protest bounds unless things got out of control. And it's worth noting that we've not heard yet from our reporters on the ground or seen in the live images that we're taking right now that Texas National Guard is present. We've seen some DPS. We know that Austin Police Department is out there. But as far as the Texas National Guard, while they are on standby, and that's a good question to continue to ask our crews, it doesn't look like we've seen Texas National Guard amid protesters thus far.
Absolutely not. No, just DPS. We've seen some Austin police officers as well. And again, Lisa Davis, chief of police and APD, saying that, they welcome the protest, just not the violence. And that's when, they might have to step in. But again, so far, I just want to reiterate, no violence that we're seeing out at this protest just yet. I do want to go back out to the parade up in D.C., though, just to give you all a view of, how many people are at this parade as well, or, the number of troops that are marching. 6 p.m., we saw some of those troops going by, and we continue to see, troops after troops, a lot of the tanks. And this is, again, the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army, the U.S. Army Grand Military Parade you're taking a look at right there. Thousands of troops marching in this parade up in Washington, D.C. President Trump's birthday the same day, and some of the protesters we have heard speak here at the Capitol today, raising concerns, fears about this, as well as talking about the money spent on this parade. But, I think you're kind of seeing both sides here and their different, what they're seeing firsthand. So,
and the military, the messaging that they're putting out right now over social media about this parade is that this is recognizing that they've been here to defend the country all these years, and that's sort of the framing of why this is so important to do today at the 250th anniversary.
I was going to say, always certainly, good to recognize our veterans and those who are serving. You're seeing a lot of them there. We've seen a lot of cheering, waving to the people there. And again, you can see, Secret Service walking along, making sure that President Trump is safe. Again, if we could go back to President Trump, he seems to be in a happy mood here today, smiling, laughing along with Pete Hegseth and his wife there, watching again, as you can see that glass in front there. Obviously, I think everyone's still kind of on high alert. I know we keep talking about this, but is a big concern, I think, for the entire nation after what happened in Minnesota, and then with the threats here in Austin as well. So
absolutely. A lot of lawmakers, a lot of leaders in our country speaking to the political violence that they're seeing against elected officials. And I think there was there was the timing of hearing about what happened in Minnesota, and then immediately these lawmakers this afternoon hearing about a threat against them when they're set to go speak in front of a crowd of thousands in the Capitol. So definitely a lot of, I think every single elected official that we've reached out to thus far has expressed concern.
You know, I think this also goes back to the assassination attempt on President Trump. We see lawmakers reaching out to him saying, you know, they don't condone this kind of stuff. Of course, you know, freedom of speech, freedom to, symbol, anything like that. But, none of them condone violence at the end of the day. I think that is the overall theme that, hey, you know, you can get out and protest and, you know, go show your views on things. But at the end of the day, you don't need to harm people, for those reasons.
Right. If we want to, we can check how things are going at the Capitol here in Austin if they've got a new speaker coming up. And we've been seeing all over social media because these No Kings protests are happening all across the country, in San Francisco, in Los Angeles, in Dallas, in San Antonio. And everywhere we've been seeing these images of how many people are showing up to all of these events. And obviously no different here in Texas where lots of people have showed up to listen to these speakers today and to make their views known. We know that from the perspective of the organizers of this event, one of the key topics that they are speaking out against today is what's been going on is regarding immigration and what's been going on where we're seeing ICE in our communities here in Austin. We've been doing reporting on what that's looked like. Just a couple of weeks ago, we did a story about a family or a couple that was stopped just outside of Dobie Middle School. So this definitely hits home for this community that's shown up today.
I was going to say, I was just looking at some tweets here now, going back, talking about the parade up in D.C., the U.S. Army. If you go to their Twitter page, balloons kind of pop up for the 250th anniversary. One of their latest tweets saying, tonight's Army 250 parade is a reminder that we've always been there for America and we will always be there. This will defend. So kind of cool to see some of the tweets they're putting out, some of our nation's best going to work here. But again, taking a live look now, again, at the Capitol, right in front of the Capitol on Congress Avenue. You can see that crowd now kind of spilling out into the street. You see some DPS troopers on standby there. But again, no mention, or from our reporters at least, or we haven't seen the Texas National Guard, anything like that going. It looks like there's another speaker, though, at the event right now.
Child that was crossing the street to get to a school bus, not once, 8. Teslas. The Model Y hit the kid paused. As if nothing. Of people, and this
in America.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nevin. Up next, we have Valerie from League of Women Voters.
Hello, everybody. I'm Valerie DeMille. I'm the Voter Service Vice President for the League of Women Voters. Louder, louder, louder. Okay, I'm louder. Is that loud enough? All right, cool. We're all going to get COVID from this microphone. Anyway, what I'm up here to tell you is, I know that you may think you're already registered to vote in the state of Texas, which you very well may be. But if you have moved or changed your name since the last time you voted, you need to update your registration. You can do that at the canopy over there with the sign on it that says register to vote here. And you can do it this year, and then you don't have to worry about it next year. Woo! We also have some constitutional amendments on the ballot in November, so if you care about that sort of thing, it's a good practice run. If you've never voted before, there's less pressure. It's a shorter line. Also, one of the things that we are working with Hands Off on and with Resist Austin is we are distributing what are known as red cards, which are from the Immigrant Legal Resource Center. And they are a little red card that has on one side your constitutional rights when you're interacting with law enforcement, including ICE. And it is written in that person's native language. And then on the other side, it has basically go away written on it in English so that the cops can see it when you hold it up to the window of your house rather than opening the door. We have 20,000 English ones and 20,000 Spanish ones here today. So if you are a part of a community where those could be useful, if you have a business where you can distribute them, put them next to the register, whatever, please come get some. We also have 1,000 Vietnamese and Chinese. So try to hit everybody. So yeah, we have those at the water canopy, and we have those at the League of Women Voters canopy. So come grab some of those if you're in a position where you want to distribute those. And I think that's about all I have to say. Who am I looking for? Yeah? What's that? No, I'm done. I told Lucy this is going to be fast.
All right, she's done.
I need like a minute and a half.
League of Women Voters. You know, people always ask me, there's an election coming up. About an election, and where can I find out information on who is running for office? And let me tell you,
I feel like a kid on a school trip eating this squished peanut butter sandwich.
Yep.
Where are we going next?
Come on, Lizzie. Come on, babe.
come on, Izzy, this way.
toilet. And all my neighbors gave millions of is really quiet, and I'm really loud. I've been told to leave Midland, Texas, because I'm It is time for us to take back the because the rural folks are I'm from Waco, home of Ann Richards, birthplace of Cecile Richards. And I'm telling you, I almost said no to this because this is really scary and I'm not a politician. But I thought, what would Ann have done? What would Cecile have done? And I'm here to tell you. I'm here to tell you that I'm here and we're not going away, and I'm going to
Thank you so much. You know, it is so important that we pay attention to rural Texans. It is so important that we protect Texans all over our state. And here to talk about protecting Texans with an on-the-ground immigration update, Kate Lincoln Goldfish of Lincoln Goldfish Law. Bienvenidos, Austin, Texas. I am Kate Lincoln Goldfish, immigration attorney. Soy la abogada Kate y estoy con los inmigrantes. How we doing out there? Are we ready to fight for immigrant families? Are we ready to bring love? When they put their foot on our necks, we have each other's backs.
Most of America.
Can you talk a little bit about kind of what specific policies you're most concerned about that brought you out?
Well, I don't like what's going on with the oligarchs. I don't like the fact that they're taking away from immigrants. And I mean, basically, we're all immigrants. I mean, this country was born with immigrants, so it's insane to label them all criminal. That's just not the case. And we need diversity. It's healthy. We don't need bigots that hate and hate and hate. And that's all they do. And then they stand behind the other billionaires and millionaires while we've got kids losing their health care and elderly people like me losing probably Social Security, if not immediately, then eventually. And I don't want to back away from the situation. I want to stand up for the country that I love and have loved all my life.
Who has been in this country for over 20 years, worked hard, has a roofing company, raised his family, these 3 kids, and in addition to these 3 kids, he is helping raise a girl whose dad died during COVID and who has a severe heart condition. We love you! Even still, at his last ICE check-in, David was arrested in a surprise attack and detained and taken away from his family, and he will spend Father's Day
They will spend tomorrow missing him. Nicole is going to be really brave. She's a teenager, and she wants to tell you about her dad.
Hi, my name is Nicole, and I'm here defending my dad. My dad is David, who has been affected everything that is happening with deportations. I wanted to tell you that my dad is a responsible person. He has always paid everything he owes, and he has always done his jobs well. He has always been a good person to everyone and always tries to help people who need help. My dad doesn't deserve what is happening to him, and neither do any of the people who came here to the United States to work to have a better life. I'm truly sorry for all the people who are going through something like this, who have had their loved ones taken away, and I hope they return to you, and that all of this can be resolved soon. And if my dad sees this or is watching me now, I want to say, Pa, lo quiero mucho, yo estoy aquí para lo que usted necesite, y yo soy muy feliz de ser su hija. Take care.
Cases like David's highlight the reality of Trump's unjust, inhumane, downright immoral, and illegal immigration policies. But here today and all across this country, we are here to say together, estamos con los inmigrantes. Okay, do you guys want to do an exercise with me? Because whenever I come to one of these protests, I want to get us all doing something, spreading some joy and love. Are you with me? You want to do something? Cool. Okay, everybody pull out your cell phones if you have one. Think of a restaurant or a business that you love that is owned by an immigrant. All of them. Yes. Think of one for this exercise. Pull them up on Google. Search them on Google, pull them up, and click on their Google Maps listing. You'll see it says Overview, Menu, and Reviews. Click on Reviews, and right now, leave that business a 5-star review. And you can say whatever you want. Great place, immigrant run, proud to support it. But everybody just take a moment right now before the next speaker comes on and leave a 5-star review for an immigrant-run business. When they spread hate, we bring love. Let's tell the immigrants, we've got their backs. Adelante!
Next up, we have Melody Tremolo, trans right activist and lead organizer with Hands Off Central Texas.
Howdy, folks. I am Melody Tremolo. I am the Vice President of Hands Off Central Texas and an out and open trans woman. Right now, our democracy is under attack, and our Constitution is being ignored and violated. The clowns in office, in charge of a shit show of a circus right now. And we have the best view in the house, except we are not the audience. We are the show. We are the animals in the cages, and I am the canary in the coal mine. When they came after immigrants and trans kids, there was hardly any pushback. Hardly anybody blinked an eye. The fascists targeted the weakest among us. Shame. They targeted the ones who were too few, like trans people. Or they targeted the ones that were just trying to come here to make a better life for themselves and their families. Shame! Back from the average. That was the moment that everybody should have stood up. That was when the fascists were weakest. When we could beat them if we just joined together in solidarity. Fascism withers in the face of unity. Especially when we are protecting our weakest, because that is when the fascist is weakest. But as a collective, we did nothing. We let them eat our weakest, and they grew stronger. They began to go after other targets. Federal employees, students, their professors, and on and on and on. And with each group that they successfully targeted, they became stronger. Shame. I'm sure you've heard the news. National Guard in California. National Guard in Texas. In one case, we have an example of executive overreach, and in the other, we see capitulation. And the fascists grow stronger. We should have stopped them when they targeted immigrants and trans kids. We should have stopped them when they were the weakest. But here we are today, having to shout that there are no kings. Thing. When I said that I am the canary in the coal mine, I hope you understand that I belong to one of the most vulnerable populations. I am one of the ones that have been systematically attacked by this regime since the beginning. So when I say that I am the canary in the coal mine and I am dying, I hope you understand that means if you do nothing, that you are going to start dying too. Miners did not let the canaries die. So when I am dying, will you save me? Join Hands Off Central Texas next weekend on June 21st from 1 to 4 p.m. at the First Baptist Church right off of Trinity for a Know Your Rights, Medic, and De-Escalation Training Seminar. Sign up for our newsletter for all of our free resources. Thank you all so much for coming out today. There are 20,000 of you here right now. That is democracy. I am Melody Tremolo. Thank you all for coming out today, and together we can save democracy.
USA! 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 All right, now. So I'm going to tell you, we have been told that there are 20,000. We have been told that there are 20,000 people here to protect their community. 20,000 patriots. It is the goal of Hands Off Central Texas to plug in 3.5% of Central Texas. That is 60,000 people. And I want to give a hand for the people who are doing activism from home, who are taking care of their children, who cannot be here with us today. Activism is an ecosystem. Not everybody can come out today. Not everybody has the day off work. Not everybody can show up in the same way, but it is important that we all show up, plug in, and do one thing every day to save democracy. Up next for you, we've still got more speakers. We're still going. If you haven't gotten your Know Your Rights card, make sure to get it on the way out. We have Joe Jaworski, who is the former mayor of Galveston and a lawyer here in Texas.
God bless y'all. You know, in Galveston, Texas, I've led through several hurricanes, and I'm going to adapt one of our phrases right here, right now. Democracy yields to no storm. Also, think about it. Those of you who love Austin as I do, there's 20,000 of us here. We wouldn't fit in Moody Center. Tonight, the horror of assassination haunts America yet again. We've been here before, and yet this feels different. Full of life, full of purpose in our position, confident of our constitutional right to assemble and say what we must say, in numbers too big to ignore. And then we were met with the shocking news that respected Democratic leaders in Minnesota's state government and their spouses were shot in their homes by an assassin dressed as a police officer. American city, in a safe suburb, on a morning, in their homes. If it happened there, it could happen here. It could happen anywhere in America. This represents our worst nightmare because the enemy is within. Americans turning on Americans. Americans killing Americans over politics. It's so horrible. It's so horrible. You want to look away, but if we are to survive this moment, we can't go around it, beneath it, above it. There is only one way to go, and that way is through it. Don't look away. Behold it. All of us, be brave. Stand strong together. Stand arms locked with your neighbor against this horror. Life is precious, and violence is never the answer. That much we must agree on. Let's remember that political disagreement can be robust, even vicious at times, as long as we're using words, not bullets. As long as we're resolving our disagreements every 2 and 4 years at the ballot box, not on the battleground. We vote. We don't shoot. Now is a good time to remind each other. We have each other's backs. Feel the power of our goodness, our collective goodness. What do we want? We want a fair playing field and bright future for everyone. We want good jobs that pay living wages. We want superior taxpayer-funded public education and safe schools. We want safe neighborhoods with affordable housing. We want clean air to breathe and safe water to drink. We want to live well, and if we get sick or hurt, we want to know that we can be healed and be well again, and that we can afford it. In Texas, we want health and safety and prosperity, and we want a new, square, fair, and better deal than that which we have endured these last 3 decades. It all comes down to the people demanding that better deal in constitutionally protected protests, in face-to-face petitioning of the people's government, and during the fully engaged vote to install our next crop of leaders in the 2026 midterms.
We need a medic to the...
Medic over here. Medic. We need a medic. And while we get the doctor to the east side, let me leave you with this, my friends. Confront the horror, but don't let it stop you. Reach out to your friends and neighbors and know there is a positive path forward together in these difficult times, because there is a better Texas waiting for us if we just demand it. And remember, always and forever, we have each other's backs!
Up next, we have Vanessa Fuentes, City Councilwoman and Mayor Pro Tem!
Hey, Austin, now this is what I'm talking about. We have 20,000 Austinites and Texans. We have the largest protest in the entire state. I am joined here with my colleagues, Councilmember Chito Vela and Councilmember Jose Velasquez, and we represent the Latino caucus on Austin City Council. My name is Vanessa Fuentes, and I am proud to serve as your mayor pro tem, and I'm even prouder, daughter of a Mexican immigrant. It is a great day to be here and protest and make our voices heard and stand up for basic human rights and dignities, something Donald Trump can't get his head wrapped around. So I'm going to ask y'all a few questions. Do we believe in the dignity of every single person in our country, regardless of immigration status? Do we believe in the power of protest, solidarity, and democracy? Are we willing to stand up to protect these values against the heartless and shameful actions of the Trump administration? That's what I thought. We're here because we love this country. And I'm not just talking about government. I'm talking about us, our neighbors, our families, our friends, our loved ones. We, the people, right here, right now. Because to be absolutely clear, this response is just about the most patriotic thing we can do. Am I right? In Austin, in this country, we don't believe in authoritarianism. We don't believe in dictators. And we sure as hell don't bow down to kings. We believe in our humanity, our empathy, and the basic truth that everyone deserves to live in freedom, not fear. So today and every day moving forward, let's proudly raise our voices for that dignity, for that democracy, and for the freedoms we all deserve. Please join me in welcoming my colleague, Councilmember Chito Vela.
Hello, Austin! Oh my, what a loud, boisterous, peaceful, beautiful crowd! Yo, I'm Council Member Chito Vela. Before I got on council, I worked as an immigration attorney fighting to keep families together. And before I moved to Austin, I lived in Laredo with one foot in Mexico, crossing the border all the time, a beautiful binational city, a beautiful environment to grow up into. But today I represent a city council district full of immigrants from all over the world. And let me say that Austin is a pro-immigrant city. One more time, Austin is a pro-immigrant city. We are a city built by immigrants from the very beginning. Stephen F. Austin, who our city was named after, was an immigrant to Texas. The German and Mexicans came to Austin in the 1800s. They came to Texas, to Austin as immigrants. Today, we have immigrants from Central America, from Asia. Austin is a city of immigrants. And let me tell you, your Austin City Council is home. They work here, they live here, their children are here, their families are here, they're our neighbors, they're our friends. We want them here, and we will celebrate our immigrant history. And the Austin City Council supports the Constitution. We support due process. We support the rule of law. And we will support our community.
And the orders of the officers appointed over me according to regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. Congratulations, congratulations. Welcome to the United States Army, and have a great life. Thank you very much. Have a great life. Thank you.
Okay, so if you're still with us, we just switched from the No Kings protest happening at the Capitol in Austin to the 250th anniversary military parade happening in Washington, D.C. President Trump just finished speaking, and we're going to stay tuned a little while longer to see if he comes back up.
Please welcome country music sensation and proud supporter of our troops, Warren Ziders.
All right, just for all you watching out there, again, you're taking a live look out at the 250th birthday of the U.S. Army. That's the Grand Military Parade and celebration. We just saw Trump speak at the podium, and now you're kind of getting a sense of what is going on there. We've seen, like I said, thousands of troops marching. We've seen the tanks marching through as well. It seemed like a happy event up in Washington, D.C. today.
Right. Yeah, if you've been watching with us, we just saw President Donald Trump go up to speak, and he just finished up speaking shortly ago. Let's cut back to the protest in Austin and see who's on stage now. Let's see. You can see that large crowd.
State and national, I ask you to remember the Constitution that you swore to. You have rights, and you cannot be forced to go against your own people. So I stand here again today to remind you that we stand still, we stand together, and we fight. This is a country made up of migrant workers. And we are here to say that there are no kings here. Thank you.
When immigrant rights are under attack, what do we do? When trans rights are under attack, what do we do? Fight back, fight back. When women's rights are under attack, what do we do? Fight back. When veterans are under attack, what do we do? Fight back. And we've got a couple veterans here to talk to you today. We are starting with Michael LePack of Common Defense.
Good evening. I'm Michael. I'm a member of Common Defense, the largest grassroots veterans organization in the country. And there are other veterans all around the state and the country that are taking a stand. Together. No pain! And there are other to stand the oath and join the veteran of the United States Army. I took an oath to defend the Constitution. Today I see that oath is under threat, not from foreign enemies, but from rising authoritarianism at home. Peaceful protesters are being met with force. Marines are being threatened as tools of political intimidation. Meanwhile, the same leaders cutting veterans' affairs dare to call themselves pro-veteran. I didn't serve for a president. I Lee Pack, San Angelo, Texas, a veteran of the United States Army, 1982 to 2018. Peace.
Next up, we have Richard Diaz, veteran activist.
Oh my goodness. Yeah! Man, y'all are beautiful just like everybody said. I came up here and y'all sure are beautiful just as everybody said. So today is the Army's birthday. Yeah, so I'm a veteran of the 101st Army Airborne Division, Air Assault. Whoa. Can we get a huge happy birthday for Army right now? Yes! I love my brothers and sisters that I served with. I tell people all the time I served with the baddest mofos in this world. And I just want to say to all my brothers and sisters that are in uniform, whether it's in the Army uniform, whether it's in the Marine uniform, whether it's in the Air Force, all of our service, National Guard, Navy, Space Force, to all our state troopers here, to everybody that wears the uniform that's here to protect you, I want to say thank you and I love you. I know when I raised my right hand, I swore that oath to protect the constitutional rights of this country. Not only myself, not only for the rights for myself, not only for the rights of my family, for the rights of all of us. Whether you share my ideals or not, that's what America's all about. Is having that right. And right now that right is trying to be taken away from us. And this right here is how we do it, how we keep that. We're trying to make it to 250 years. Come on, give us a break. Life is tough enough as it is already, right? I got things to do right now. I'm supposed to be doing homework. I might drop a class. But with everything that's happening right here, I cannot take a break. I cannot sit down because I swore that oath. I am a protector. Not only when I was in uniform, while I'm out of uniform too. Ooh. Everybody always tells me thank you for my service. I want to say you were worth it. I'll do it again and again and again. So I want to speak to all my service members, everybody. Look at, remember why you raised your hand, that right hand, why you raised your right. All of us right here, right now. Right now they're having us try to go against our uncles, our sisters, our tios, our daughters, our grandmas, our grandpas. Right now when I was coming up here, my elder, she had to tell me, be careful, watch yourself. But she said, don't worry, we're ready. I just had cataract surgery, so my aim is there. And my other elder, she's a master sergeant, retired master sergeant, still doing the fight. She said, I don't have my vision, but I have a laser. Everybody always asks me, with your knowledge, how would you feel if we ever got attacked? I said, oh my good, if anybody ever tried to attack America, they better have a whole bunch behind us. They better be ready because America is strong. We are the only nation in this world, in human civilization, to ever have this kind of diversity within this nation. No other nation ever has done what we've done here today. All rocks, colors, shapes, everything is right here, and it's so beautiful because of it. So I want you to look next to somebody that doesn't even look like you and tell you I love them. Tell them I love you. I love you all right now. And I love you, I love you, I love you. All right, thank you. I know the time's short. I just wanted to say I love y'all again. Thank everybody that's serving. Thank everybody that's right here. This is what America is all about. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you.
Next up, we have Dan Weber. If you have not followed him on Instagram or TikTok, you're going to have to hear him. You're going to have to hear him now and for the rest of the year.
My name is Dan Weber, and in 2009 and 2011, I fought with the 2nd Battalion, 8th Marines in Afghanistan, and I served as a deputy in Hays County from 2016 to 2020. What can I say in 5 minutes that can encompass the hurt I feel watching my Marines occupy American cities? At Marines being forced into a position where 19-year-old PFCs feel they have no choice but to detain American citizens. At watching a unit which is not a military police, but a Marine Corps infantry unit, facing off against those who they swore to protect. The deadliest professional warriors on the face of the earth, the tip of America's spear, are no longer training for combat, training to fight this country's wars. Instead of doing what is necessary to actually prepare to fight and return home, they're being used as political puppets, fomenting the fall of everything the Marine Corps is supposed to stand for. The 2nd Battalion, 7th Marine Regiment has fought at Guadalcanal, Peleliu, Okinawa, the Chosin Reservoir, Vietnam, Iraq, and twice in Helmand Province, Afghanistan. 20 of their Marines died in 2008 alone, and another 160 wounded. The next year, 14 of my brothers died on that same soil. I see Marines in LA receiving 4 days of riot control training, and I think of the 600 hours of training necessary to become a peace officer in Texas before you can even begin on-job training. I remember how almost nothing I learned and trained for in the Marines was directly applicable to civilian law enforcement. I remember thinking my way, the Marine way, was the best way for all situations. And I remember figuring out very quickly that I had it backward. To be a law enforcement officer in this country, to be a police officer, a deputy, a constable, or agent is not about being the tip of the spear, but about being the shield that you wear. Sheriff Hernandez, Chief Davis, Mayor Watson, ICE is blatantly and unapologetically violating human rights across this country. What this agency was at its inception in 2003, built with extraordinary powers and trust to protect Americans from terrorism, is no longer representative of what it is we see today. This administration has turned an agency created by the American people into neither spear nor shield but a lynching rope. ICE wears masks to elementary schools, courtrooms, hospitals, birthday parties, and jobs. They are not remotely using appropriate use of force techniques, following law regarding warrantless arrests, are blatantly racially profiling, taking people from courtrooms for meetings with lawyers. They are chasing down human beings in fields, beating them, and having charges dropped, not just due to lack of sufficient evidence, but to having no evidence. Not one of those, nor any of the myriad of unprofessional, unconstitutional, and inhumane other well-documented acts would have ever been allowed to take place by any peace officer or deputy in this county or city. Yet the 4,000 sheriffs of this country remain silent. Some of the nation's 1,600 mayors speak, and some stand, but few commit. It is time, Sheriff Hernandez. It is time, Mayor Watson. It is time, Chief Davis. Look at your community. Listen to the fear in their voices. The people, regardless of where they were born, who reside in this city and in this county are your wards. But I ask you, who do they call now? Who do non-citizens call when they've been raped? Who do victims of trafficking call if they've managed to escape? Who do the victims of continuous family violence call when their abuser comes back kicking down the door? Because to report a crime is tantamount to death, poverty, or famine for some people. We are killing these people. And just because we dump the bodies over a border wall still breathing doesn't relieve us of the suffering we throw them into. The surest way to keep violent criminals in our streets are not the ones doing these atrocities against justice. I know that they'll often work 60 hours a week plus overtime, sacrificing their mental, physical, and emotional well-being, paying for their commitment to every single person here, not just with their own bodies, but by spending their Christmases, anniversaries, and birthdays away from their families, and doing it regardless of who sits in the Oval Office. These people would take a bullet or a knife for anyone here with neither consideration nor care for the victim's immigration status or what pieces of paper are in their wallet. This is what our police do. You protect real people with real blood, thoughts, fears, families, and futures. But the non-citizens of this country, county, and city aren't being protected. Make a statement now. Put the people of the community above your fears and accept that there will be consequences for doing the right thing. State your intention to discontinue any existing or future 827G agreements with ICE. Yes. Yes, the state may charge you personally with a Class A misdemeanor, Sheriff, and you, with the support of this entire community and the Constitution of the United States behind you, will fight it in court.
horses that rode into battle.
Who more than self their country loved, and mercy more than love.
And I will always do my duty, no matter what the price. Hey, I've counted up the cost, I know the sacrifice. Oh, and I don't want to die for you, but if dying's asking me, I'll bear that cross with honor. Hey, freedom don't come free. I'm an American soldier, an American. Beside my brothers and my sisters, I will proudly take a stand. When liberty's in jeopardy, I will always do what's right. Man, I'm out here on your front line. Sleep in peace tonight. American soldier, I'm an American.
It was a humbling experience putting on this uniform. I believe this uniform is a symbol of trust, and it represents the highest ideals of our country.
As we start to wrap up our live coverage here in the nation's capital, I want to turn to Vaughn Hilliard one more time. He is on the National Mall, was able to observe the parade, the celebration as it was happening right behind him. Vaughn, your closing thoughts on what we've seen tonight here in the nation's capital.
The split screen of what we have watched